Good morning, everyone. As staff of the Produce Wholefood Pantry, you know that over the past few months I've been compiling a complete nutrition guide for all products in store. And today in this short presentation we're just going to go through some of the principal concepts covered in the guide as well as how to use it. Firstly, we'll cover the principal nutrition concepts, macronutrients and micronutrients. I'll not go into a great detail here, but enough to give you a general understanding, and then we're going to go into an introduction to the guide and how to use it. So, does anyone have any idea what the definition of a nutrient is? The Farlex Partner Medical Dictionary defines a nutrient as a constituent of food necessary for normal physiological function. And as nutritionists, we divide these nutrients into two broad groups, macronutrients and micronutrients. So macronutrients are required by the body in relatively large amounts, typically in the range of grams per day, and they provide the body with fuel to make energy. The three major macronutrients are carbohydrates, protein, and fat. Water is kind of classified as a macronutrient, although it doesn't provide energy, but we do need it in relatively large amounts to survive. Carbohydrates are the main source of energy in the Australian diet, and put simply, carbohydrates are like chains of varying length, whose chain links can be one of either three sugar molecules, glucose, fructose, or galactose, and these are what we call saccharides. Now, all carbohydrates, whether they're medium chain oligosaccharides or small chains with only two chain links called disaccharides, must be broken down into their individual sugar molecules, being the glucose, fructose, or galactose, by the enzymes in mouth, stomach, and small intestine before they can be absorbed into the bloodstream and used by cells to make energy. Now, dietary fiber, which is often talked about, is also a carbohydrate, which, for one of many reasons, is unable to be broken down into the individual sugar molecules. Sometimes it's because the chains are very tightly packed together, so the enzymes are unable to access the sites they need to. Other times, the chain links are connected in such a way that the enzymes don't know how to unlink them. When this happens, the fiber proceeds through the small intestine into the large intestine, or what we call the gut, where it actually provides food for the bacteria that live there. Fiber is very beneficial for health and has been associated with decreased risk of colon cancer and cardiovascular disease. And we find carbohydrates in most foods actually, particularly in plant foods like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, lentils, nuts, and seeds. Moving on to protein. So proteins are similar to carbohydrates in that they are chains of varying length. However, protein chains are made of almost unlimited combinations of 20 different links that we call amino acids. When protein is eaten, it is broken down in the mouth, stomach, and intestine into these individual amino acids, which are then absorbed and used by the body to build its own specialized proteins for things like lean tissues in organs, muscles, hair, skin, blood, as well as things like enzymes, neurotransmitters, and hormones. 9 out of the 20 amino acids are not able to be made by our human body. This means we must obtain them from the diet. And food sources of protein include things like animal foods, so your meats, your fish, poultry, eggs, and dairy. These all contain all of the 9 essential amino acids, but there are some plant foods that also contain protein, things like legumes, nuts, seeds, and grains. However, with the exception of soy and quinoa, these are often limiting in one or more of the essential amino acids, so that means it doesn't have all 9 of the essential amino acids in them. And finally, just some information about fat. There are 3 wider groups of fats, which we also call lipids, and these 3 groups are triglycerides, which comprise of the fatty acids that can be saturated, monounsaturated, or polyunsaturated, and this is where you find your omega-3s. We also have phospholipids and sterols. The nutrition guide goes into great detail about these. And fats, actually, despite not having a great name, fats are actually really important for the body and have several functions. They help with the absorption and transport of our fat-soluble micronutrients, so our vitamins A, E, D, and K. They can be stored in our fat tissue to provide energy for the body in between meals and during times of fasting. Cholesterol actually makes up the backbone of all our sex hormones, so our estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone. Fats are also used as neurotransmitters in the walls of our cells, and they also provide cushioning and protection to our organs. And we find fats in most animal products, so all your meats, dairy, eggs, even seafood, as well as some plants like olives, avocados, coconut, nuts, seeds, and their oils. So moving on to micronutrients now. Micronutrients are required by the body in relatively small amounts, typically in the range of milli or micrograms per day. And micronutrients include our vitamins, minerals, electrolytes, antioxidants, and other phytonutrients. So there are 13 different vitamins. 9 of these are water soluble and 4 of them are fat soluble. And this just emphasizes the importance of making sure when we eat meals that they're mixed meals, including some fat, protein, and carbohydrates to ensure the absorption of all vitamins, because our fat soluble vitamins aren't able to be absorbed by the body without ingestion of fat at the same time. So here are the main minerals and electrolytes used in the body. And vitamins, minerals, and electrolytes are all really vitally important in the human body, and each has particular roles and pathways that they're involved with. And there are too many of those to go through today, but they can range from things like energy production to cell replication, blood clotting, night vision, muscle contraction, bone health, everything really. And the nutrition guide goes into great detail about what each vitamin, mineral, and electrolyte does in the body. Antioxidants, they're natural compounds found in foods that, once ingested, play a really important role in managing free radicals or oxidative stress in the body. They're similar to vitamins, but they tend to work all around the body wherever needed, whereas vitamins often have pathway-specific functions. Some examples of antioxidants include vitamins C and E, as well as beta-carotene, flavonoids, polyphenols, chelators, and other carotenoids. So moving on now to an introduction to the nutrition guide. So what I've done is split the guide into 2 parts. The first part, document 1, is the key nutrition concepts, and document 2 is a database of all products. Document 1 is designed to be used as a reference source for the database. It contains detail and evidence-based information regarding the nutrients discussed in the database. It details how the vitamins and minerals function in the body, their benefits or detriments in some cases to your health, any risks of what could happen if you're deficient in that vitamin or mineral or toxic in it, as well as key foods in which the nutrients are found. Now, document 2 is the database of all over 250 products that we have here in store. Each product has its own page dedicated to it, which lists the ingredients in the product, nutritional aspects, common uses, as well as at least one recipe suggestion. Now, as an example, we're going to have a look at black turtle beans. So this is what you would see in document 2 in the database for black turtle beans. You can see that they are a good source of plant-based protein and fiber, as well as potassium, phosphorus, magnesium, iron, zinc, and folate. Now, to get a better understanding of what impact these nutrients have on the body, you then go to the document 1, Nutrition Concepts Guide. Here you can see much more detailed information regarding magnesium and iron. You can see what the recommended daily intake is, you can see all the whole food sources, you can see what their functions in the body are, and what could happen if you have too much of it or not enough. And as I said before, this is just an excerpt from the Nutrition Concepts Guide, so there's a lot more detail on all the other nutrients in there as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this short introduction to the nutrition guide and how to use it, but there's still more to come. What we're going to be doing in the next couple of weeks and months is we're going to be updating product labels for the tubs so that they include nutritional information. We're going to be putting out more evidence-based social media content. We're also going to be doing a more in-depth staff training on all of these nutritional concepts, and we're going to be doing a customer workshop too. So just here's a space to ask some questions if you have any. And these are the references I've used in this presentation. Thank you.